Hello, hello. Welcome. Today we are in Riga, the capital of Latvia, home to very checkered history. We are told was a major metropolis of the East Baltic. Due to its location on the mouth of Baltic region's longest river, it first came to prominence as a trade location in the Viking era. But the current city was founded by German Christians in an attempt to Christianize the Balts, which was the largest remaining pagan population of the time. Not everything was very rosy. There were conflicts with Crusader forces, and while the town was predominantly German, eventually it was quote-unquote Christianized. However, the tides of war were unfavorable for them, and Riga fell to Polish and Lithuanian forces in 1581. Foreign rulers would continue uninterrupted over 3 centuries. However, Poland lost Riga to Sweden in 1621, who then relinquished it to Russia in 1710, despite the fact it was the largest city in Sweden and one of the largest cities in Russia at the time. Then, however, it was, for some reason, burnt to the ground by Russians as part of their scorched earth policy against the Napoleon invasion. Germans moved out and the Latvians moved in. After World War I, with all the major empires weakened, Latvians seized the opportunity to crown their national awakening with a independence declaration, destined to become their capital. However, it was reoccupied by Soviet Russia in 1940. Many of the buildings were destroyed. Tens of thousands of Rigans were murdered or expelled to Siberia. All the properties were nationalized and looted, and Riga was subjected to great brutality. The Soviet genocide of Latvians was replaced by the new German genocide of Jews. Then in 1944, the Soviets came back and the targets shifted again. The German community was destroyed, the Latvian population reduced, and life itself in Riga was similar to anywhere else in the Soviet Union, with massive shortages of foods, long lines, extremely limited travel, KGB surveillance, and few entertainment opportunities. In the 40s and 50s, massive buildings were constructed to downtown. But even after the massive Soviet settlement, the population was still not much more than it was before World War I. In the 80s, they eventually restored their independence. Based on my understanding of the area and my recognition of the landmarks and the layout of the canal, we have several possibilities here. Here's the first strip. See how it lies along that angle? There'd be your field, your oval, potentially that one. Which means if I were a Starfort, I would be somewhere. Oh, Starfort, oh, Starfort. Could be wrong. I am but a mortal man. Oh my, and there it is. Behold, amazing, unbelievable, and unmistakable. Look at that snowflake. The road cuts off here, does it? We'll just see about that, won't we? And, yeah, none shall pass. That's unfortunate. Certainly there must be something we can do about that. The whole land. The land is the shape. Let's see what looks like some ruins there, but nice. Blue dot power. Whoa, what is this? What am I standing on? How'd they even do this? It's supposed to be a drone. What a fantastic view. God damn. Thank you, whoever did this. And just look at that. The angle's perfect. You can see the shape of the earth. I wonder if this is all brick covered in dirt and grass, peat, moss, whatever it is. I mean, look at that thing. Could something submerged? Look at the outlines. Perfect. What a fantastic find. I don't know what's going on here, but baffles me that people can live amongst these ruins and never stop to wonder exactly what and where. Yeesh, industry encroaching. Look at that. How cool is that? Wow. No one wants to know, huh? No one's curious to know what this is here for. Whoa. We gotta rebuild wooden top there? Fascinating. And look around here, man. This looks like a beautiful place that is just about threatened to be crushed by industry. Fantastic. Look at that. And what fort would this be? This couldn't have been a fort. It had some other purpose to it. Long ago destroyed. But man, hats off to whoever came out here and popped this drone up. What excellence. I knew there was something going on here, Latvia. Riga. See if we got any other secret spots. What about you? Okay, in the catacombs. Look at that. Layers and layers of just like what, plaster and mildew. And Jesus, what was this place? Fort, yeah, right. Oh, sorry to bother you, people. Oh, what? I don't know what's going on here, but I feel like I've interrupted something. And what do we got here? Ah, another one. Oh yeah, different one. And what was this before? Who knows? Not a fort, that's for sure. How cool is that we found one? Just like that. I mean, it's a ruin. I'd venture to say there's nothing left to it but the shape. The earth remembers, though. That's what's unique about these things that I can't place. That old grid, the land, the water, the earth seems to remember and holds onto it. That canal, man. Look at that guy. Just staying so perfectly uniformly wide for hundreds and hundreds of miles. Riveria, right? What a dreamy place. Look at all that green. But we will move on to Lahti, Finland. Not too far away. And what brings us here? I'll be here all night, folks. Try the veal. So what brings us here? You may be asking. If not, I'll ask it for you. Why, it's this particular group of people gathering in the parking lot. What it is the idea that there was a Starfort here. Shazam. One sees the old wheel here, the old evidence of the old architectural power grid, and one would think, based on these sharp man-made angles, that, by God, we have stumbled upon a Starfort. Sorry. And so then one perhaps may want to delve a bit closer to this anomaly and say, further up, further in. However, upon doing so, at first I found nothing but dismay, for there is no Starfort here. Sure, it had the shape, but I mean, this bears nothing at all in similarity to the Starforts. Or does it? The brick, the painted brick, perhaps? But so then I thought, well, maybe they just, happen to use the same shape. I mean, it happens. But then I noticed the shoreline, and I see all these flat, gray stones, and I wonder where they came from. Then further up the street, I see all these flat gray stones. As we've seen elsewhere, perhaps they simply dismantled it, or it was in ruin, and they used all the stone for everything else, to shore up the bay, to line the roads. I mean, that's certainly what it appears to me. What else would you do with a bunch of stone lines? So, in hindsight, I do believe it was a Starfort. I just think it's an example of one that would be completely repurposed, including being dismantled, and all of its pieces being, and I could be wrong for sure, but it does make you wonder, why would you opt for this type of wall? Well, you might if the pieces were free and just lying around on the beach everywhere. The whole thing had been destroyed over time. I don't know. Seems to be just a lot of rubble for just a little coastal bay. And I could be wrong, but don't think I am. This stone appears to be worked. From whence did the stone come, citizens? From whence? You there, answer me this. And that's a sight we've seen before. Anyway, worth considering as an example of a Starfort that has completely disappeared due to the ravages of time. Still, a curious place. In any case, we'll move on to Pesaro, Italy. Meow. And here we are in Pesaro. Another charming Italian town, city, more likely, with some very interesting architecture. Very old world blend, along with a dearth of history, and that's curious. Can't help but wonder about the shape of some of these structures. Beautiful even here in this digital rendering, it's quite beautiful. And so why are we here, you may ask? Wow, kick me out. Here we have our little town square with our fountain. Our octagonal fountain. And the copper dome here. Yes, the ball and the antenna. And a very unique look at this city. That's interesting. Tricky little walkways, huh? Interesting gardens. Just happen to be in those shapes, huh? I think they've been growing in those shapes for 1,000 years. Because it's the earth underneath. Here's your canal running through it all. The earth underneath that remembers. It's the water that remembers. It's the land that remembers. And we're too short-sighted to see it till someone grabs you by the neck and shoves your face in it. Where have I seen this before? Because we're told that that's a castle. But I just can't help but see things like this. Things like this. Power plant. What's this? Why are we calling it a castle? Why are we calling it a fort? How is this a fort? A fort for what? Can't you just walk around it wherever you're going? No matter what and where you're going? Oh, it's the cathedrals and things you want? It's the rich palaces that you want to invade? Here it is. What's this got to do with it? If all the village people run and hide here, so what? What is the point of this? What is the point of this building? And this moat? It is not for living in. It is not for defense. People might run there later once the Romans came. This, like all these Starforts, power plant. I'm convinced of it. If you don't like what I'm saying, okay, don't be convinced of it. Whatever. This looks like things are missing. Things are missing. I once went here. They may put a roof over this one, but this didn't have this old tile. That's new. I mean, you can go down and take a look at it. And we shall. Oh, hello. And so who built this? What king built this and how? How'd you build this in the year 400 or 500 or 1600? I mean, or any time. How? Where could you even get the bricks from? Entire thing composed of brick. It's amazing. Oh, here's more of that ingenious Italian video I was telling you about her. God, they're so good. And here you have just more brick infrastructure. These ancient walls these cities are built on. Probably an outer ring to it. A little flooded out. I mean, like everywhere, once you get down in there. Amazing statue. One of dozens, no doubt. And this looks like part of a broken amphitheater. order. Doesn't look complete, but we're gonna just gloss it over with a bunch of random history, and that looks old. But nah, we know better. We went to university. No one could fool us. How could it be possible to deceive an entire population of people? They don't deceive an entire population. They deceive a select few of the people, and then the rest of you just listen to them because they write it in books, and their voices are allowed to talk, and they're more prominent, and you pay to listen to them speak. So of course, it must be so. It must be true. Me, I'm just a random voice in the internet. What do I know? You know what, though? This version of the world makes a lot more sense. Now, we weren't the first people here. I don't know what happened to the people who came before, but this is not our legacy. And they weren't dumber than us or more primitive. They were just as advanced as us. They were just as smart as us, if not smarter. And we are devolving. We are growing weaker, growing more reliant on tech. We're destroying our habitats. We are under parasitic invasion, destroying our land, eating toxic shit, listening to toxic shit, putting toxic shit in our air and our water, being toxic to each other, fighting each other for no reason over imagined differences, placing the least of us in charge of us, no moral value, no self-respect, working jobs we don't like all day long, wearing ourselves out, no time for children, no time for ourselves, no time for our families, no time to make love, and no time to relax and take naps, no time to examine the world around you, no time to figure out who we are, distracted by traffic, forced into these big cities where we wait in traffic all day long, 2-hour commute, that's nothing, on your phone all day, looking at screens all day, sitting down, isolated, contained, maybe going out and getting drunk on the weekends. This is a pathetic world we live in. And yet, it's just like these people that think that they're so cerebral and so smart. They've got the world figured out. They can't tell you what's underneath their own house. They can't even tell you why they have a basement, and they want to tell you what's in the middle of the earth. The deepest hole that's ever been dug is 8 miles, but it's like the skin of an apple, but they're gonna try to tell you what's in the middle of the earth. They don't know what's on the bottom of the sea, but they're gonna try to tell you it's 9 million light years away. Your camera on your car is blurry and grainy, but they can take a photograph of something that's millions of miles away. Yeah, right. They are liars. They have an anti-human agenda. Who are they? How could they be all in on it? Well, if you're asking that question, then they is the you. And no, you're not all in on it, are you? You don't have to be in on it for the agenda to be pushed forward. You don't have to be in on it to be part of it. You don't have to be in on it to be assisting it, because you are, by just believing and regurgitating the first story that you're told. The difference is that you believed the first thing you were told about the world. You believe the first version of events that you're told. You believe what you're told about these buildings. Others, and I was like you too, many others were. But then gradually, life and reality and experience showed us that there might be another story. There might be another version of events. Why would they lie? Why wouldn't they want you to think that you were the best it's ever been? You're the pinnacle. This society is the greatest thing it's ever been. Your government's the greatest thing it's ever been. We're so advanced. We're not going back to the primitive Stone Age. What's wrong with you? Why would they want you to believe that we're drifting from what we're supposed to be? That doesn't suit their agenda. You being smart, intelligent, well-educated, asking questions, that doesn't what they want. They don't want thinkers and questioners. Didn't they prove that by silencing millions of voices in 2016? Millions openly? Free speech, my ass. Free nothing. And I can't believe this world is full of people who just wander around without asking questions about where they're at. I mean, I guess I can. I mean, I was that person. And I'm not trying to take some holier than thou viewpoint. I mean, after all, it's why I'm out here making this stuff, right? So that like 5 people maybe can look at the world differently. You know, I don't mind spending all the time and hours to do that, even if it affects just a handful of people, because that's all we can do. Reach out to the people we know and say, hey, things aren't the way they appear. There's a worm on the line. There's a bait on the hook. The lie is the trap. It's the keys left in the car. It's the illusion. It's this life. It's an illusion. What are we? I don't know. But I know that they don't want us to find that out. They must be scared of it for some reason. Because maybe we're more powerful than we think. And that's why one day you'll try to come to this channel and it won't be here. And you'll be like, oh, he must have changed his mind or gave up. No, that's not what'll happen. I won't be allowed to use this public forum anymore because these ideas are pro-human. My fight is for humanity. And this is an anti-human agenda in an anti-human world. We are not the first. And if everyone stays in line with what these clowns tell us, we definitely won't be the last. I brought you here to this Aberdeen, Netherlands, I believe it's called Aberdeen, something. And you may ask why. Well, it has a certain beauty about it, don't you think? Yes, it does. The land gives nothing away, does it? No, it does not. But when we step outside, boosh! Look at that, a Starfort. Now, the odd thing was that I found that the land gave nothing away. The land seemed to be very flat, as far as I can tell. So what does that mean about these Starforts? I don't know. I really do not know. At this point, I'm a bit at a loss. Now, I've seen this before, but I always sort of assumed when you got up close, you would be able to see the difference in the elevation in some way. And maybe you can, and maybe that photograph's not exactly where it claims to be. And I'll show you again where we started off here. And it was, well, I thought it was right here. I don't see it now. And yeah, I mean, there's virtually no elevation change. I guess a tiny bit over here. As close as I could tell would be, I mean, yeah, you can't really see anything out there. Assuming that is the exact direction that we're looking. You know, I suppose we could be looking somewhere else, but I don't really see anywhere else where there'd be a bridge. Oh, I guess maybe here. Maybe you're looking here instead. So in that case, let's say the picture is geotagged wrong. Let's say you're standing here or here looking across that little bridge, which that looks like that's probably where that is. I mean, it'd be either off to your right or left. So let's try that again. Oh, okay, wow. Now there's an actual dot on the bridge. So maybe that is where you're staying. Oh, shit. Now we're up in a drone or something. Well, I like that. Yeah, okay. So it was different. Okay. So where's our little guy? Oh, there he is. Hey, bro. Let me down, dude. I gotta pay. Alright, in that case, so this must be someone that knows what's up. But, see, now even here, though, so it would be over here, off to the left, right? What we said if you're on the bridge. You look off to your left, you'd see it over there. And, yeah, very hard to tell. Maybe that's because the trees, but hard to tell this way as well. Oh, except for that. Maybe that row. Let's go back down and look. Okay, so I would be back here. I didn't see that little dot the first time. Let's flip around here. And again, inconclusive. Yeah, so I don't know what exactly, I mean, I guess here you can kind of see, I mean, maybe? If I didn't know what I was looking at, though, I mean, I would have no idea what I was doing out here. I mean, I guess I would have no idea. I would have no idea. See, I can't even tell which direction I'm looking at. I think it's too far. It's out of sight, because there's trees over here. Which is why I was initially looking at that one, because it was a blue dot right here, right? So you'd think that right here, you would see, the angle kind of adjusts though, doesn't it? But it looks like you're coming in hot, and then you're back here at this little footbridge again. So I don't know what that means, I guess. What it means is that we don't know anything. But it's curious to me, you know, that these, because I've seen this before, and it looks like the land remembers. And it's very possible, of course, that this is water, of course. So it looks like water. What's left of, like, you know, canal type thing. But, you know, it just adds another element of mystery. Like, what was this thing? What were these? And how could it just be gone? Like when you demolish a building, usually the ground doesn't retain the shape that it was in, you know. I mean, unless it's buried under here, and it's just strange. I mean, I guess it could have been totally dismantled, but I don't know. That's a mystery. And this is what gives rise to the theory that some people, I think it's a little wild, but you never know, that, you know, the Starforts initially were some sort of a flying object, right? The ability to fly. You know, you get all these old tropes in fantasy about these flying castles and things like that, castles in the sky, and then there's also castles built way up high in these cliffs, and, you know, it's, like, anything's possible. I understand why those conclusions have to be considered, really, if you're talking about, you know, because of things like that. You know, they just vanish. I don't know. Very interesting. But I know nothing about this part of the Netherlands, other than it's clearly farmland. Yeah. And the Netherlands is no stranger to Starforts. No, sir. Matter of fact, what do we got over here? There's some old world grid if I ever seen any. Looking as if perhaps there was a Starfort over here as well. Wouldn't be surprised, you know, wouldn't be surprised at all.